It's Jonathan Agoff here for Pro Boxing Fans, joined by the Romford Bull, Johnny Fisher, who are here in London. Johnny, tell us what you're doing here today.
Hello John, hope you're well mate. I'm just here to, I was kindly invited by some of the guys at Boxer to watch the unveiling of Ben Whittaker. I've seen him in the amateurs, I've seen him about on the circuit a little bit at different boxing shows. He's very impressive, so I think I'm in a bit of history now and I'll be able to see a good fighter just starting off, you know.
We're just talking off camera about your recent injury, healing up nicely. Just tell us when that all happened and the healing process.
Yeah, so it was before the Torero fight in October. I felt something weren't quite right in my hand, and I thought weren't too bad. Like, I kept carrying on, it's a niggle, and then by fight night, wrapped it up properly, it was all right. And then in the last camp, I was getting more of a niggle, and it was getting worse and worse, but not enough for you to say, all right, I'm going to have to not fight, and just let it get worse and worse. And then in that last fight, the second round, so I just crunched on it a little bit, but came out the ring, it was all ballooned up, and I had a little fracture in my hand. So the doctor basically said, you've been overusing it, you haven't been hitting them pads too hard and not heavy bag too much. You've got to look after your hands a little bit more. So that's what I've done. I've let it rest a little bit. 5 fights in 1 year is a lot to have. So, but it's come back, it's grown back stronger. So I've done the right thing. I'm ready to go again.
So you had to deal with the cut, you had to deal with the hand. That's a good learning experience, I guess.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And the guy was tough as well. He came to fight, especially when he saw I was cut. He was like, because he was bouncing about a little bit and a bit happy. So it's all good experience in the bank. Still won comfortably, and it's good because if you go through to 10 fights and knock everyone out in the second or third round, yeah, it looks great. It's brilliant for my fans. But if I want to have longevity in this career and move up the ranks, I'm going to have to go through little tests and things like that.
So what was going through your mind? The cut happens. It's dripping down your face. You've got a guy trying to take your head off. What's going through your mind? Has that happened to you before in sparring or anything?
I've been cut before in rugby and football, and I know what it feels like. And I just felt straight away, I thought, just for God's sake, this ain't good. And I was getting in the corner and I was shaking my head at Mark, going, yeah, I'm good. And then Jimmy Tibbs was going to me, Johnny, stop shaking your bloody head, stop shaking your head. So it was like I was almost laughing in the corner because it's making me laugh, them two. But it was good. Listen, it's all money in the bank, it's all experience. When I come back in like my 10th, 11th fight, I might have something similar, but I've been there before, so it's all good in the bank.
And your performance in general, happy with it? What are things you thought went well? What things you feel like you could improve?
We was focusing a lot on negating the other guy's right hand, because one thing we noticed, one shot that he did have was a nice little right hand through the middle, and what I was focusing on was just putting that jab out there, sticking it out there. Listen, that worked well, but I can still relax more. When I spar, nice and fluent, nice and relaxed. If I sparred that guy, I'd probably knock his head off more times than not. But when you're fighting in front of a crowd, you've got a cut, you've got all this tense stuff to deal with. That's what I've got to overcome, and I'm doing it quite early on, which is good. So in my 4th and 5th fight, I'm fighting in front of big crowds. When I get to my bigger fights, when I fight for titles, I've been there already. So I'm doing all these things at once, and I'm trying to do it all at once with no amateur background really. So I'm doing all right so far, but there's always room for improvement, and I know that.
I spoke to Chris Lovejoy last week. He said he wants that fight next. He's spoken to Eddie Hearn, and he says he'll beat you in 2 rounds. A response?
Oh, big bad Chris, he wants it, doesn't he? We'll have to make a trip over to Vegas, won't we? Bring the Romford Bull Army and we'll have a good old fight over there, a good old dust up. I like Chris, I think he's good how he winds people up, and I'm sure the Romford Bull Army will have a lot to say to him.
So is that the fight you want next, or could there be, say, one more before that?
I'd like to fight in London first, in front of all my home supporters, and then whenever I'm walking down in Romford and Essex, and when we go on these trips around the country, people asking when we're going Vegas, so I think we put a good crowd out there, and it'd be unbelievable to get out to Vegas in the 6th or 7th fight.
And obviously he says 2 rounds, he'll win in 2 rounds. What's your response?
Listen, Chris, just hope you can last 2 rounds. I'm joking, no. he'll be tough. He's a big, strong man. And whatever you say about Chris and the people he's fought, he's still knocked 19 people out. So I've got to be very careful with that. If I go in there all nonchalant, thinking I'm going to walk all over him, that's not how it normally goes. So listen, he could fight me, and any heavyweight over 15, 16 stone, they can knock you out in 2 rounds. So I've got to be careful, but I'm hoping I'll be the one who'll be knocking him out in 1 or 2 rounds.
A few quick ones. Canelo Alvarez, Dmitry Bivol over the weekend. What did you make of Bivol's win?
Yeah, I remember fighting on the undercard of Chisora Parker 1. Bivol was there. I thought he's a big, strong man, and I thought from the beginning this ain't going to be an easy night for Canelo. I didn't think he'd win. I thought Canelo would still win on points, but great footwork, that physical stature of Bivol. He wasn't bullied, and I think he showed like that he could move. If you manoeuvre around Canelo, you can box well. So very strong, and I'm excited to see if they fight at 168.
What do you think he'll do? What do you think the best thing for him to do is the rematch or go back down?
I don't know. I looked at that advice Mike Tyson was giving him about peppering that jab a little bit more. I think if he had the rematch, you'd have to look at something like that. But he's got that tempting fight with Canelo, GGG. So maybe he'll go for that because he's at a more comfortable weight then as well.
And Tyson Fury stopping Dillian White the other week. What did you make of that?
Great performance, great spectacle as well. I was there. I think he cemented himself as the best of our era. I think Fury would give anyone, any era, trouble, but brilliant to see. I really want to see him fight the winner of Usyk Joshua now. I hope he does.
Do you think he will? Do you think that will be enough to tempt him out? Because he said he's retired, but not a lot of people believe him.
Yeah, a lot of people don't believe him. Who knows with Tyson, because he's quite an unpredictable character. But I think the fighter in him will say, look, if there's Usyk, especially if Joshua beats Usyk, the appetite for a fight between them two will be huge. Even if it's Usyk he has to fight. To be the undisputed champion, the first one Britain's had since Lennox Lewis, what an accolade that would be. So I think the fighter in him will pull him back.
Absolutely. All right, Johnny, thanks for talking to Pro Boxing fans. Anything you want to say to your army of fans in Romford?
Thank you to Romford Army for supporting me. We've got a long way to go, but the army will be back en route very soon. Hopefully August time, we'll be going out there again. Bosh.